something's going wrong, because if everything is reducible to physics and chemistry, then so is your mind. But then why would you trust your mind? In other words, atheism, taken to its logical conclusion, undermines the very rationality you need to trust to do science.
All right, the clip you're about to watch is really a doozy. It's amazing. It's John Lennox, a mathematician from Oxford University, also widely published, widely renowned, and he himself is a Christian. And he's talking here about the correlation between science and actually belief in God. Many people try to draw a wedge between these two things, as if the further you go into science, the further away you go from God. John Lennox would disagree. Let's dive in, and I'll give some of my thoughts on the back end. Enjoy this Daily Dose of Wisdom.
I approach this in two ways. The first one is your comment that secularism is collapsing. And one can analyze the defects in atheism and where it leads to, and the millions of people that died in the last century. But coming over to the other side, what you're saying, Justin, you see, I am a scientist. And one of the fascinating things is that science is a direct legacy of the Judeo-Christian tradition. You were saying we're all scientists now and all this is, no, it is not. And let's start absolutely basic. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Hebrew Bible, written millennia ago, knew there was a beginning. It was in the early 60s before scientists caught up with that. And the Bible was right. And Dawkins said, well, there was a 50-50 chance when I debated him. And I said, at least the Bible got it right. But more seriously than that, you see, the fact that I'm a mathematician and interested in science, now just think about that. The fact that mathematics can describe what goes on in the universe is a matter of huge wonder. Einstein once said the only incomprehensible thing about the universe is that it is comprehensible. And he saw the problem. Why does it work? Well, it's not an incomprehensible thing if you start from the idea that there's an intelligent God who made us in his image, and therefore we can do science. And that's exactly what the early pioneers of modern science, starting with Galileo and Kepler and Newton and so on and so forth, they were all believers in God. And therefore, when I hear that kind of question, I'm not remotely ashamed of being a scientist and a Christian, because I want to argue that it was Christianity gave me my subject. And C.S. Lewis put it brilliantly. I'm glad you understood it in the end. C.S. Lewis said, men became scientific because they expected law in nature, and they expected law in nature because they believed in the lawgiver. And I think we're getting to the stage now where serious atheist thinkers are beginning to re-examine the kind of naturalism that reduces everything to physics and chemistry. And one of them lives in New York. His name is Thomas Nagel. And he's a brilliant philosopher. And he says something's going wrong, because if everything is reducible to physics and chemistry, then so is your mind. But then why would you trust your mind? In other words, atheism, taken to its logical conclusion, undermines the very rationality you need to trust to do science. And I'm not in for accepting a worldview that undermines the foundations of any kind of argument or discussion whatsoever. So I think that in the 21st century, we can push back on that very naive notion that God's out, we do science now. No, science actually brings God back in.
I even see this popping up in the comment sections of my own videos a lot of times, because people have been really taught and indoctrinated that this is the case, that to be scientific, to be rationalistic, is to not believe in fairy tales, not believe in the flying spaghetti monster in the sky, that those things are childish and those things are mythological in nature, and that science and faith are really on two different islands far, far away from each other with a vast ocean in between. This is not the case. The further you look into science, the more that you begin to see the handiwork of God, the more you begin to see the connectivity between different disciplines of science, the intricacy that exists within the known universe, the fact really that you think about that there is anything at all as opposed to nothing. Your only options with that is that it's either the byproduct of some type of an intelligent being, a designer, or that things just popped into nowhere for no reason without any explanation. You can't really even prove a negative using the scientific method. And so there's a lot more that can be said on this topic, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this little snippet from someone as renowned and prolific as John Lennox. There's a lot more to be said. In fact, I'm gonna do an upcoming video that looks at Francis Collins' work on the Human Genome Project. So with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to watch something else here, let's say. Yeah, let's put something cool right here for you guys to enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video.